Blue Protocol just got some brand new reveals. That's for both a new update on Steam, as well as the Season 2 preview. Yes, already for Season 2. We'll go over all that future stuff, cosmetics, events, etc. What's going to be tied into the global version from the CN version, as well as a whole bunch more. What's up, world? It's Utopia here, back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things Blue Protocol Star Resonance. Now let's move over, we'll jump onto what happened today, then we'll get into the Season 2 preview stuff. So first off, there was actually a build that went out, 203-81043. Depending on when you're watching this video, that actually happened on October 14th. Which you might be asking, so what happened there? They didn't post any patch notes. Well, we actually have the Steam database changes. Currently, there's no official patch notes available for this build. However, we have the exact file types that were added in this update. And yes, we actually got some massive changes this time, and we can exactly precisely see what they are. So as you see at the very top here, it says changed in this file update. They did add the new anti-cheat expert ACE. So they added a bunch of anti-cheat files for the base core system setup service, and even the DLL file to make that a reality. I might be asking, why did they add this so late into the launch, or at least a few days into it? Well, the launcher version already had this one baked and built in. So now they're kind of getting those on terms with each other and adding it to the Steam client version. So now that does have a proper anti-cheat, which definitely is needed for an MMO. So glad that they are adding one there. There has been talks on it being kernel level, etc. Well, pretty much every anti-cheat is kernel level. And it is a multiplayer game, so it really does need an anti-cheat. Again, glad they're adding proper parity there. There has been some talk about FPS changes there with the Steam version. I will say, I actually have a best settings guide video, and I've been on the launcher version since day one. So I've actually had this anti-cheat the whole time. So my settings video actually does properly apply to this. If you needed help kind of getting your settings up in order, especially with frame timings and frame rates, or just wanting to learn how the combat preferences and all the keybinds work, there actually is quite a lot to dive into there. I do have a full video that outlines literally everything from graphic settings to the battle preferences, and even a few keybind tips. I'll link to that down below in the description, but it's also on my channel if you wanted to visit that. Moving on from that though, at the same exact time, we actually did get a brand new Season 2 teaser, what they're considering Part 1. Now this did apply to the China client or CN client, but we can go over what they've teased that's happening in Season 2. Super quick here before we jump into the Season 2 preview and all the news there. If you haven't already, Blue Protocol Star Resonance is completely free to play. There has never been a better time than now to jump into the game, as you can easily catch up to people that are even near the end game. There's a download link that's located in my description, or you can even use the QR code on screen. It'll also be a pinned comment down below, and I'd really appreciate if you guys did use that, as it does help out the channel a ton. I also do want to thank A+ and Blue Protocol Star Resonance for sponsoring this video. I will say quickly before we jump into all these articles, you'll see here I'll kind of showcase like a little bit of what the text actually is. It does actually need to be translated, and I'm actually going to pull this into a different translator, as Google Translate is quite terrible at doing this and finding the context. So I was able to pull together additional context to actually translate this, get the proper context for those translations that do actually properly apply to Blue Protocol, not just the translation themselves. So it's going to be in a different formatting here just so that we can get it for readability purposes and understanding exactly what's happening. So what's happening with that, a little TLDR and a little catch up here. The CN client actually did get an extension for Season 1, which is essentially the same season that we're on right now. That lasted, or is going to last, until October 30th, where they do actually have a Season 2 prologue on October 16th. They do get some login perks here, more than likely we'll get those same. They're going to be receiving 2,000 bound rose gems. And actually, they're getting a compensation here. That one was the login perk, which is around 15 days for Season 1 logins. But their compensation here will be 700 bound rose gems for the October 14th maintenance. Again, that might differ a little bit than what we get, as unfortunately they did have an extension to their Season 1. We'll have to wait and see there, but it could coincide. Now, what exactly is the Season 2 prologue? Well, this is a story hook where you do meet Aluna, which she's called Aluna over on the CN client, but on our client she's actually called Irona. We're actually meeting at the Bahamol Plateau. You do enter the Land of Crimson and Illusion. Do believe these areas of the map we don't have unlocked just yet. They also are mentioning the theme for this. It's Nightmare X Illusion, with new season affixes and a PvPvE spice. Super cool to hear some PvP mechanics. You might be asking, what does that exactly mean? Well, they do answer it here. It's going to be a core loop with 2 phases. So the first one translated here is coalescing. It is when energy rises over time, where you do go over puzzles and interacts. You'll do eliminations for gains, and then you can farm the dim dreamstones. The second phase here is going to be called overflow, where actually the energy is going to decay over time. Then elites and bosses will spawn. Those are going to drop the larger dreamstones, and you get a temp buff affix. On top of that though, here's the PvP tie-in with the timed events. Every 5, 10, and 15 minutes, there will be new chests, Lord of the Illusion, and Beast of the Illusion, where you can then transform into a hostile opponent, and then you can engage in the PvPvE mechanic. So super cool, they're almost like you're taking over a personified boss. Honestly, can't wait to see it. They don't have any video footage of this just yet. But again, this is just the part 1 teaser. Now, they actually did mention some currencies here that we aren't familiar with, so they do break those down. The dim dreamstones are capped at 999 per run. You do lose 50% on those if you do actually get eliminated, so you should spend those before swapping the scenes or going into those other phases. There is, however, a safe zone, which I believe they're calling Naboo, where you can then turn in some collected items here into seeds and buy those buffs and affixes. They do mention this is going to be a standard unlock with a new area starting October 23rd, and those seeds will be able to be farmed then. So pretty cool there. During the prologue, you will be able to farm these. Next up here, they do go over some rewards. They have the coffer versus emblem. The coffer is a one-time Season 1 outfit part selectable during that point, and the emblem is a guaranteed one-time Season 2 dungeon cosmetic after the Season 2 starts. So you'll be able to snag either a Season 1 outfit part, or you can wait and then get a Season 2 dungeon cosmetic. That'll be after that Season 2 starts though. Speaking of cosmetics here, we do have some stuff that they've shown off during Season 1. This first one here was actually a premium card shop purchase, and translated it was called the Tracing Dream Fantasia. Again, you did have to use a premium card to purchase this one. That was actually on the Meow shop, so you did have to use that one in order to get this set. They do show off the male and female variants. Now, translated, it could render as Dream Tracing Rhapsody, so it could vary depending on what they actually name it for the global client. This next one is a gacha outfit. Again, the outfit naming could vary, either Shimmering Starlight Night or Glistering Starlight Night. That one did open for the CN client on September 15th. So depending on when we get that, in accordance with what we have, more than likely we'll see that from a month or two from now. They also do showcase off some additional items tied with the outfit. Again, we'll have to wait and see on those details for that for sure when they do come to global, if they do change from the CN client. This next one, as you can tell, is actually a mount. I do believe this is going to be another gacha outfit called the Core Drive, or potentially Extreme Driver. That one did come out for them August 16th. So again, we could see that one even as early as next month. Pretty cool there. They do have some decent showcases of these outfits. As I mentioned, nothing too concrete for Season 2 cosmetics just yet. They haven't unveiled those as of right now. We only have some of this baseline imagery here for Season 2, some potential teaser imagery overall, but nothing too crazy. These are mostly just UI elements and showcasing what we have there for that. Next up here, we actually do have the quality of life changes and fixes that are coming from CN to global, or likely to global. The first one here has been talked about. I've seen it mentioned in Discord, but now they're actually adding confirmations for the circle and square to be clearly labeled. Some great UI changes here. The gear screen now shows item level and better recommendation content tags. Social icons will be there before names. And the auto camera presets will be modified a little bit with portal navigate tracking. Avatar and card customization can be reopened. They do mention there'll be strict rules on that one though. And also a wave of bug fixes for those UI inputs as well. That wasn't all for Season 2. They do mention they're going to be fine-tuning enemy combat with AI and action variety, a new attack frequency, reactions being tuned, and even hit detections improved. There will be new challenges for solo and 2-player modes. This is going to be via a simulation terminal, although that name has been pending, and that will be scaled by party size. This is another one talked about body customization, height, build, and limb sliders, which you can do via a Visage Reforger plus the hairstyle voucher. They're probably just going to give you that in the mail. They do also mention that you'll be able to change your gender. That one is planned, but not at the start of Season 2. The homestead, you'll be able to visit other people's islands with a better planting UI, new placement tools, unified material tracking. An awesome one here for gear. Enhancements made will now be shared across sets where you can swap loadouts, with recommended attribute tags better soft comparing with the UI, and drops can now be craftable, not just from the wild bosses. They do mention for future direction they are going to be adding an entire new region with larger biomes, interactables, guild co-op, and guild halls, even a new pet companion capture where you can even raise and use in combat, while also the main story will continue with new characters. So a ton is being planned for Season 2 and beyond. Overall, though, that's about covered today's video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.